This works without fail every single time, and it literally transformed my life in ways that I didn't even think was ever going to happen, at a point where I even doubted if it could ever be transformed. That's how miraculous this was. Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Alexandria of BEHATILIFE. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about curses, what they are, how you know you have a curse on you, and the most important part, I'm going to give you 3 of my favorite ways to break them, and I have used all 3 of them, and I'll give you a little bit of my own story and experience with each. Now let me go ahead and explain to you exactly what a curse or a hex is. A curse is evil intention that is thrown your way, that is there to serve misfortune over your life. Sometimes it can be something someone says, or if someone is cursing you out and they're pointing their finger at you, but it's the intention behind it. If they are throwing bad juju your way, or actually going so far as to do a spell in order to make bad things happen to you, that is what a curse is. And it can be something, again, as elaborate as them doing a full-blown ritual, or it could be something as simple as them being like, go to hell, or you're never gonna find love in your life, or you get exactly what it is that you deserve. And the thing is that anything could really be a curse, because it's pretty much the words that someone says and the thoughts that they're thinking as they're projecting them out towards you. It can block blessings, it can bring bad luck, misfortune, it can make things in your life backfire. You can find yourself being such a good person, but it doesn't seem to matter because all of these bad things keep happening and you can't explain it. There's really no explanation for it. The other thing is that with curses is that maybe it wasn't directed at you, maybe it was directed at your family or a family member from a generation that had already passed. This is something that I actually experienced in my life within my family, that we knew that we had bad luck in one area of our lives. We had intuitively known that there was something kind of evil or bad following us with that. It kept getting passed on from generation to generation, and then it was confirmed a little later on through psychic reading that we had done for each other, and then also from outside psychics that were saying the same thing and seeing the same thing and confirming what it was that we pretty much already knew for ourselves. But what had happened was, before our generation, my generation, my mother's generation, my grandmother's generation, and then before that generation, there was evil that was put on all of the women within our family, on that side of the family, that they would have misfortune follow them regardless of how good they were, regardless of how hard they worked, and regardless of no matter what the universe would bring them, it would always kind of like backfire. This actually happens a lot more than you guys would know, or that you would even expect to think, because back in the olden days, that was pretty much, you know, I don't want to say that people were throwing magic around left and right, but that was kind of like how things were done in a lot of ways. There's a lot of ritual that was done. Even with Christian backgrounds, there's still a lot of evil words that were said and evil things that were done through words. So how do you know that a curse is on you? Well, like I said before, it just seems like everything seems to backfire. You could have success in all of these areas of your life, but there could be this one area that there is consistently a drought. No matter how plentiful it would seem that the opportunities would be, or how blessed or how lucky you should be, things just seem to backfire. Or a lot of you guys intuitively kind of know, or you have a vibe, or maybe you guys intuitively kind of feel this like dark cloud following you. Let's go ahead and talk about removing the curse, which to me is the most important part of this video. Now there are 3 different ways, 3 of my favorite different ways that you can remove a curse or a hex that's been placed on your life, whether it was something lightly done in this life or something that was heavily done towards you in this life, or it's something that's passed from generation to generation. The first one is by using red brick dust. Now this actually happens to be one of the easiest and cheapest forms of removing curses, and I use this for blessing and removing bad juju, bad vibes from my house and from my home and from the environment around it. For those of you guys that don't know, I've moved so many times in my life, probably over 30 times in my life. I moved every year since the age 9, and then multiple times, sometimes within 1 year. And each time we've been in a new home, or I was in a new apartment, or whatever the case was. And that home, if I walked into a home outside of saging it, if that home had bad vibes around it because there was a fight or a divorce or a death, I would use this in order to break the curse, in order to break the bad juju of that home, and then also to simultaneously bless me while I'm living in that space. The other way that this red brick dust can work in order to remove curses is to remove the energy that you bring to the home if you yourself or energy of your ancestors is carrying on with you now in the present and is infiltrating the energy of the home. And basically what you need is a hammer, you need a basic red brick, you need a broom that you don't mind throwing away, you need a bucket, and you need spring water. Red brick is so powerful when it comes to removing curses, believe it or not, and it's so easy to work with. But I do want to warn you guys and tell you to be careful with crushing the red brick, which is the first thing that you're going to need to do. What I like to do is I like to take newspaper or plastic and put it outside and start to crush a red brick with a hammer. Then you're gonna separate the red brick into two separate equal piles. The first pile of red brick dust, so you wanna crush it so much that it actually turns into a powder. You're then gonna put that in a bucket of fresh spring water. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of water. It could just be one bottle of spring water that you can get anywhere from $1, from a vending machine, from Whole Foods, it doesn't matter. But make sure that you have fresh water, don't use tap water, and then pour it into the bucket and then add the red brick dust to the bucket. Then what you're going to do is take a rag or a mop and you are going to wipe down the floors and wipe down as much of the walls as you can. And while you're doing that, you're calling in your angels, you're calling in your guides and your ancestors to help to remove any bad vibes, to help to remove the curse and speak it out of your life. A lot of people choose to work with a mop, but I don't like that method at all. I personally like to use a rag, a rough rag, because I can scrub the floor, I can scrub the walls, and it's just really, in my belief, I feel like it just completely removes the energy, and I'm like simultaneously cleaning as I go along, but that's just me as a Virgo. I'm very thorough, and I feel like with a mop, you're just kind of coasting through and lightly brushing it over. Granted, just having the red brick dust and the water wiping throughout the home is enough in order to bless the home, but of course, again, Virgo, we always go above and beyond, so it is what it is. Just do whatever feels most comfortable for you. After you're done mopping down the walls and the floors, more importantly, the floors than the walls, you're gonna take the other half of the red brick dust and you are going to sprinkle it around the perimeter of the home. While you are sprinkling the dust, the red brick dust, around the perimeter of the home, make sure that the windows and the doors of the house are open. That way you're letting breezes come in, that way you're letting good energy come in, because you've already called it in as you were mopping the floors down, as you were mopping the walls down, and working with your angels and guides in order to completely remove and bless the home and to reverse the energy of this curse that's been bringing misfortune and bad juju into the home itself. You can also use that same bucket of water that you use to mop the floors and that you use to mop the walls in order to bless certain objects. Let's say there's a ring that it is that you like to carry that it's connected to divorce or a death or an object that is connected to bad vibes. You can use that same red brick dust water in order to bless and to cleanse that object, and do the same thing that you would for the floor and the walls to bless and remove the curse from the home environment, but speak good over that object and call your angels, call your guides, call the divine, call God and your ancestors in order to reverse the energy of that object and start it fresh and start it brand new. For those of you guys who are like, Jess, does sage work? Sage does not work when it comes to curse reversal. There's a lot of people who will probably debate me on that, but in my opinion and from my experience when it comes to energy work and magic, there are curses out there that just sage alone is not going to work. Sage should work in conjunction with it, but using and believing that sage is going to completely remove a curse from your home or from you is not enough. Curses are so serious and they can be very dangerous, and more than that, they create so much discomfort and heartbreak and sadness within your life that I would never rely just on sage alone in order to reverse something that is so strong. This is why you really do need to take it to the next level and do these extra steps in order to protect yourself, your home, and your family. But anyways, so back to what it was that I was saying. You know, your windows are open, you have good vibes and good air and good breeze, you're working with the elements of the nature coming in and blessing your home as well as your angels and your guides. guides working to bless your home, and the red brick dust is doing what it does in order to reverse and to remove the curse. You have already sprinkled the dust around the perimeter of the home as much as you can. Then you go back in, you take a broom that you don't mind throwing away after you're done using it, and you sweep that red brick dust out of the house, starting from the far end of the home and then moving it out the back door or the front door. If you live in an apartment and there's only one way in, one way out of your apartment, then just move it out of the door, that's fine too. But as you're doing that, thank your ancestors, thank your angels, thank your guides, thank God, thank the divine for working with you to remove this curse and to lift this curse from your life. When you are done sweeping the red brick dust out, and when you are done blessing the home, it is time now to throw away the broom and thank it for its service. Now, the next thing that I recommend, my curse removal number 2, is to do a dragon's blood bath. Bath soaks are so powerful when it comes to working your magic, setting intention, and curse removals of all types. We see this being used many times, or the power of water being used many times in all different types of belief systems and all types of spirituality and all different types of religions, because water has the power to heal, to transform, to shift, to bubble up, to brew. We see this in baptisms, we see this in our tears, we see this in our body, we see this in the pools of the ocean and the ebbs and the flows. And water is so powerful, and I use it a lot when it comes to working my magic in a way that I am allowed to be flowing and more easy and more effortless. But just because it's quote unquote easy doesn't mean that it isn't powerful AF. And that's why this is curse removal number 2. And again, it's the dragon's blood bath. So this right here is actual dragon's blood. Dragon's blood is essentially a powerful red resin, and the energy of this is so strong in building power in order to build energy, but also in removing curses and bad vibes around you. So what you want to do is almost very similar to the red brick method that I was talking about earlier. You want to take a chunk of dragon's blood, and I feel like this is just enough, and then you want to take a mortar and pestle. You want to add the dragon's blood to the bottom of the mortar and pestle, and then crush it up into a fine powder, just as you did with the red brick. Then you want to add 2 full cups of Epsom salt. Me personally, I'm very overly generous with my Epsom salt because I believe that, and from my experience, salt and water together is a powerful form of baptism and detoxing that I always incorporate within my bath. And you guys see that with the charge soaks that it is that I offer within my shop, within the apothecary. They always incorporate different forms and variations of salt that you can add to your bath water that is charged in order to change the vibration, in order to change the magic, the essence of whatever it is that you're trying to call in, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it be protection, curse removal, attraction, love, beauty, whatever the case is. So then once your dragon's blood is crushed into a powder, you're going to add cinnamon, you're gonna add drops of patchouli, you're gonna add half a cup of papaya leaf. If you don't have papaya leaf around you, I have some of that within my apothecary. The links for that are down below. And then a sprinkle of black pepper. Now the reason why this combination is so powerful is because not only is it surging with energy, dragon's blood, cinnamon, black pepper, and black pepper are fire elements, and they work to completely dissolve and transform anything in a way that is powerful and masculine. It's very assertive. Even though the bath itself is very feminine and releasing, this is what surges all of those energies together and those elements together in order to create incredible change quick and fast. It's very powerful. When you have these ingredients together, not only are they working to break the curse, but the act of you stepping into this charged and blessed bath soak, which I'll tell you about how to do that in a second, it works as a baptism in order to cleanse you new and cleanse you fresh. But then, more than that, it goes a step further and reverses the curse and bounces it back to whoever it was that gave it to you, whether they are presently alive or it's in spirit. So you have all of these ingredients together. I prefer mixing them up in a ceramic or glass bowl. They're smashed together, they're pushed together, and then you sprinkle them into the bath soak. When the ingredients are in the bath water, you want to sit at the edge of the tub and you want to call in, again, your angels, your guides, ancestors, the divine. Archangel Michael is one of my favorite archangels to work with when it comes to curse removal. You want to ask them to bless your bath space, to make the space sacred, to make it holy. You want to tell them your intention. My intention for this bath soak, and my intention for this moment, for this baptism, is to completely remove bad vibes off of me, to completely remove this curse, to break this curse for my highest and greatest good. I have freedom on me, I have abundance on me, I have love on me, peace and blessings flow to me now. This curse is completely removed. I ask angels and guides, I ask you Archangel Michael, I ask you divine, I ask you spirit, that you work with me now in order to bless this water. And as I step into this water, it is the old version of me. I'm going to be baptized, born anew, and the curse is going to be completely removed. So it is, so shall it be done. Ashe. When you're sitting in the bathtub, just allow yourself to float, to soak. There are many times when I have done this for myself, and I've done it a total of 3 times in my life for separate occasions. 2 out of those 3 times while sitting in the tub, not only did I feel the release, the weight of it lifted off of me, but I actually felt an emotional release that I didn't even know that it was that I was carrying. But as I was soaking in the tub, and as I would come up from the tub water and from this blessed soak, I actually felt this weight being lifted off of my shoulders that, again, I had no idea that it was that I was carrying. But that's exactly how curses work. You don't know the weight of the burden that it is that is on you or surrounding you until it has been lifted off, and your spirit now is light. So you should feel that when you rise up from your bath water. And when that happens, just go ahead and drain the bathtub water, drain that charged water. All of that needs to be washed away. And so afterwards, what you want to do is you want to turn on the faucet, clean the bathtub. You want to shower and clean yourself and bathe yourself brand new. And then after all is said and done, use blessed holy water or Florida cologne water, which you can see here. Use Florida cologne water that is blessed, and splash that on your body. Thank your guides, thank your angels, your ancestors, the divine, the God, Archangel Michael, for working with you, bringing you back anew, and set intention for the type of love, the type of money, the type of life, the type of health that it is that you want to have within your life, and to attract and build, continue to build within your life. Because chances are you have been trying, but this curse, this bad vibe, has been the one thing that's been blocking those blessings for you. And now that the curse is lifted, this is when that energy can come in, because you have been baptized, because you have been blessed, and come out of this a totally new person, or your spirit is totally new. I also want to see you vow to do better for yourself, and to make healthier choices, to make healthier options, to think lighter, to think positive, to speak only good things and not ill things. Because even though the curse is removed, you yourself have become accustomed to negative circumstances and negative events. If you bring the energy of that negativity that you just released, even though that curse itself is gone, but your mindset is still toxic, your mindset is still stuck on negative situations and negative words and negative thinking, then you are going to allow that negativity to kind of linger even though the curse itself is gone. I hope that that makes sense. Now moving on to my final favorite way of curse and hex removal, and this is one of the most powerful things that have worked for me. I don't want to go into too much detail of the circumstance that I needed this for within my life, but when I tell you guys it was so powerfully healing that I did write about it on my blog. Then I also created like an altar of sorts, like an internet digital altar of sorts to Archangel Michael, because the amount of profound healing that came to me from this moment. And the one thing that I did promise after I did this spell, or after I did this intention, after I did this prayer, was to share the word. And you will also see the prayer for it down below. I'm going to link it in my description box because I want everybody to have access to it. And I also want to encourage you to do this. And then once it's done, I want you to then pass it on to others and to continue to pass it on. This works without fail every single time, and it literally transformed my life in ways that I didn't even think was ever going to happen, at a point where I even doubted if it could ever be transformed. That's how miraculous this was. So basically what you want to do is you want to get a white candle, like a 7-day candle. It doesn't have to be in a glass case. In fact, the first candle that I used was a white pillar, like a white regular candlestick. and I just held it and I would just keep lighting it, and I would have like a cup that it would sit in. But for 7 weeks I would light this candle, or if you want to use a glass candle, I'm using this one right now as an example because this is what I just happen to have within my sacred space right now, but it does have to be white or gold or silver. But you light it every single day for you light it every single Tuesday for 7 weeks, and you say a specific series of prayers. Again, those are going to be listed below. Within the prayer, there's a spot for you to ask for whatever it is that your intention is, for whatever it is that you're asking from Archangel Michael or from your guides, and you want to fill in the blank with that. When I tell you your blessings will be answered, or your prayer will be answered and it will come to fruition, it really is a prayer of miracles. I'm so surprised and shocked that more people aren't talking about this, because the effect of it is just so strong and so powerful, and I have to recommend it to everybody as much as I can. Again, that's why I have a full page dedicated to this on my website. But again, what you do is you do this prayer every Tuesday. It doesn't have to be an exact time, but just commit to doing this every Tuesday, lighting this candle and saying that prayer, and it will remove curses, and it also will bless your life depending on whatever it is that you're asking for. Now, my story with that is this. There was a major thing that I was dealing with in my life, that I had been dealing with the majority of my life since I was a child, and I didn't even know any better. Like, I didn't know life to be different because this was all I knew it as. And I was called to go to this sacred space that was in Tarpon Springs in Florida, and that was where this shrine to Archangel Michael was created, and you would go there. And I remember looking around me. The space was so quiet, it was so still, that it was almost eerie. Like, it was almost really eerie. And I remember walking into the shrine. It was beautiful, and there were people there that were praying. There were some that were crying, but it was very light. And I was thinking, like, these people are probably praying for miraculous healing. They're probably praying for certain situations and certain circumstances, and here I am praying about this one situation. I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now talking about it, but it just reminds me again of how desperate the situation was for me, and how much I had been hurting from this circumstance, and how much healing I needed. And then also looking at other people that were struggling and suffering within their own stuff. I was guided to go there, and my mom and I went together, and I remember just praying, and I remember feeling uncomfortable when I first started praying. But then I just like lost track of time, and by the time I did open up my eyes, everyone was gone. Even my mom wasn't there anymore. Like, she was waiting for me outside. I didn't hear anybody. Like, I was just praying to Archangel Michael and asking for a miracle over my life. And then during that process, I learned while I was praying that if there is something that is heavy on your heart, it's so imperative for you to pray about it. It doesn't matter how trivial you think it is. If it's making your heart heavy, then it's so important for you to ask for guidance and for you to ask to be released of it. And that's exactly what it was that I did. And now looking back at it, I realize how important it was for me to get this off of my heart, and how actually like large the magnitude of the burden that I was carrying was, even in comparison to other people's issues. But because I had gotten so used to it, and because I had gotten so accustomed to my life looking like this and being a certain way, that I had just gotten used to carrying that burden. And I feel like the universe, God, will put things on your heart and put things in your life in order to test your faith, in order to put you in a position where you have to ask them for help so that you can actually receive miracles, as a testament to what the universe and what, you know, the divine can do for you, and to help to spread that word and that message. But either way, you know, I opened up my eyes finally when I was done talking to Archangel Michael, and I looked around and there was nobody there. And I remember being like, oh, it didn't work. And then I walked out, and you know, but I had done my prayer, so I walked out and I saw my mom waiting for me. And as soon as I stepped on the front step of the shrine, literally I felt this huge weight off of my shoulders, and I was like, oh my God, like I've never felt that before. Like, I didn't realize that I was carrying this burden and this weight on my shoulders for so long. And then when I tell you guys, like, I went home and I would do that prayer 7 weeks even after I had felt that, and I never had that, you know, same release afterwards, but I was consistent and I was faithful to that prayer. And when I tell you, after the 7 weeks, when I tell you there was miraculous healing when it comes to my situation and the energy of the person that it was that I was praying about and my relationship with that person, it was insane. And it honestly was a miracle. But that was a part of, you know, an aspect of this badness. Well, it actually was a part of the curse that I was talking about earlier that we had discovered. But it was creating so much heartache for me, and I didn't even realize it because I had gotten so used to carrying it. And that's how it is for some of you guys. So that's why it was so important to me. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but you guys know how I am sometimes. It's when I see other people suffering, or when I remember like my own story and my own journey and stuff like that, and just taking these steps and how quickly your life can change. I don't know why people aren't talking about this more often and why they're not sharing this prayer. But again, it's people like, I guess, me and other people who do share it, that this is why we're here. And if it can happen in my life, and I've used this multiple times, and each time at the very end of the prayer, there is miraculous healing. And I have to include it when it comes to curse removal in this video, but also don't just use it for curse removal, use it for asking for the desires of your heart in areas that you may be lacking faith, or you're not sure how things are gonna happen or how things are gonna manifest, because it is a miracle and it will happen. And God, your angels, your Archangel Michael will speak to you. And when I tell you, the power of Archangel Michael is so real, whether you believe it or whether you don't, and I hope that you do. But if you don't, still call and see what will happen, because it will turn a non-believer into a believer real quick when that energy starts to shift and you start looking around and you're just like, damn, the only way that could have happened is if it was through a miracle. And I just have like chills talking about it right now. But it's crazy because it doesn't really hurt me right now, but it's just crazy how everything kind of worked out. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I legit love every single one of you as if you were, you know, my own. I hope that this video helped you. If it did, go ahead and hit the thumbs up video. Make sure that you hit subscribe. Share this with the people that it is that you love, your friends, in order to give hope, in order to give healing. And until then, I send you all of my love, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.